Hello and welcome back to Calradia Expanded at War. You could see here we're actually at war against the Western Empire. Now, you may be wondering at the end of the last episode what actually happened at Diathma. Well, we don't have to worry about that because a bunch of my vassals, or, well, not even technically my vassals specifically, but generally Vlandian vassals turned up and they decided to make a bit of a ruckus. And as a result, the enemy did not decide to proceed with the siege. However, they did enter a field battle with the Vlandian vassals, and I also piled in there a little bit and got a little bit of money and prisoners and so on. Anyway, Western Empire is now declaring war. I am doing a siege at Garontor Castle, and I've also gained a perk in Steward. So we're going to take a look here. Do not pay wages for wounded troops, or influence gained from donating troops is increased by 25%. Alright, well, this is pretty easy. Do not pay wages for wounded troops. I personally don't agree with the, well, moral implication here, but obviously it's a game, so there's not really any morals, I suppose, but generally this is, you know my thoughts on this. Anyway, I'm going to take this because that's just generally from a gameplay perspective a decent option for us. Anyway, what I've also done is I've changed my loadout. Okay, so my loadout is now... Wait a minute, why am I clicking on everything except the inventory? I don't know. But anyway, here we go. I'm currently using a Manavlion. I went into an Empire town and I got one of these. And this is obviously not the one that I was using before. The one that I was using before was cracked. So obviously it wasn't as good as this. And I'm very interested to see how this does, because this is just better in every single way. And this is the first time I'm doing this, but I'm using a crossbow. Well, technically, should I say, let me rephrase. It's the first time I'm using a crossbow in this series, because obviously I have used a crossbow extensively in one of the previous series. Anyway, this is going to be pretty fun in my opinion. And the assault is going to be the best way that we can potentially do something with the crossbow. Hopefully we're going to be able to get a decent amount of skill. Bear in mind, I only have 2 focus points in it, but it's going to give me a lot of skill points if I'm able to get a hit with it. And it will give me more if I can get a kill with it, which is going to be fantastic. So we'll see if we can make this work. I only have 20 bolts, unfortunately, because I decided that I would keep my shield on just for safety's sake. I mean, I'm already being murdered, basically, so yeah, that's not particularly good, is it? Oh, really? Miss? Come on, old man Byron, what are you doing there? Oh, he's missing like no one's business. I have no idea why he's missing so much. I mean, yes, okay, his crossbow skill is, well, quite frankly, awful. However, the crosshair does not even look that bad. It looks pretty decent, but I apparently am getting the worst luck in the world about where the bolt is going. So, yeah, not really making... I mean, look at this. Look at that. That was an easy hit. Why wasn't I able to get it before? I have no idea. Oh, well, never mind. Maybe my horse was moving a little bit, and that's what caused it to have a bit of a problem, but... yeah, it seems like... oh, never mind. Okay, that guy's dead. Maybe we can shoot... never mind. That guy's dead. Okay, maybe we can shoot this guy. Oh, nice. And we got a kill, too. That has increased my crossbow skill by such a massive amount that we already have 50 skill points in it. I have a bunch of different crossbows in my inventory as well, by the way. And I think... I'm not entirely sure, but I think most of them cannot be used on a horse. The only one that can be used on a horse is what I'm currently using. And this is just a basic crossbow. This is just a basic crossbow, not even a light crossbow, it's just a regular one. And maybe, just maybe, we're going to see one of the others be used a little bit as well, because generally I'm going to use crossbows in siege defenses mostly, and maybe even in siege offenses. I mean, as you can see right here, I'm using it right now to sort of weaken the enemy and their presence on the walls. That's making a pretty decent... I guess a little dent, maybe not a decent dent, but a decent enough amount of damage to be kind of happy about that. And look at how much damage the Manavlion's doing to the gate. My one-handed weapons were doing nothing to this. I love this weapon. Oh, this weapon is amazing. Oh, okay. Hearty recommendation. Hearty recommendation from me right here. If you are a polearm user, please get yourself a Manavleon. It is fantastic. I mean, I actually kind of know that that was the case, or I knew that that was the case beforehand, but I don't know why, but I just never picked one up again. I did use one way back with the original Byron, I think. The original Byron in the Khuzait Khanate series. And obviously that was mostly focused on horse archery and you know, remaining a loyalist to the Khuzait Khanate. But generally, you know, the Manavleon was something that I used a little bit as well. But of course, after I found the War Razor, field battles were completely different at that point. They were just... It was just I was going to say foregone conclusion again. It was just an inevitability that I literally wanted to use the War Razor almost all the time. Anyway, I'm going to take all the prisoners. I'm not going to take any of these troops. If they were Vlandians, then I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll take them. But there's no real need for me to do it. I have almost a maxed out army as it is, so it kind of makes no sense anyway. And we are going to be able to donate 7,500 in experience. Personally, I don't really care about this that much. It's only 7,500. Yeah, sure, why not? Let's do it. And we're going to show mercy. I'm going to claim the fief because I actually would like to siege Ortisia as well after this. And if I can maintain control of this area in a somewhat decent fashion, then I might very well be able to start expanding down in the southern territories, which I think is going to be pretty good. So let's just level these guys up. There we go. We'll get 200 in here. Let's put this here. Get a very small construction bonus as a result of the money in there as well. Bear in mind, the loyalty is not even that bad, but yeah, look at this. The construction speed is awful. Really, really bad. Anyway, let's wait here for some time, because the enemy vassals might want to attack, but it seems like they probably don't. So we don't really need to worry about them. I'm going to just wait until my army is basically restored, which they are very quickly. And now let's move on. Oh, that is a lot. Wow, that's a large amount of vassals right there. Okay. Oh, they actually went in. Okay, I'm super surprised about this. So yeah, the amazing amount of vassals from the Western Empire went in against Ingaltha's army. You can see here, look at the... Ooh, now this is... this is definitely something I'm interested in. Okay, let me just take a quick look here. I have 2 perks to spend with the crossbow. So let's have a look. Your crossbow attacks ignore armor below 20. And aiming with your crossbow is 25%. Faster. We'll go for that one. And increases crossbow damage against mounts by 40%, and crossbow equipped troops in your formation deal 20% more damage against mounts. And then the other one is we have reload time. I personally think reload time is just fantastic. There's really nothing to say about that. I mean, generally, if you can hit a horse in the head, and generally you don't even want to be hitting horses, if I'm honest, but yeah. Reload time is just way too good to pass up, so I will be taking that. Okay, so let's do it. Let's go in. Let's actually go into a massive, massive battle, and we'll see what's going on here. Now, bear in mind, I am not using the War Razor. That is something to very much bear in mind here, because, of course, you got to think about the fact that the War Razor is so much longer than the Manavleon. The Manavleon is going to be very easy to use in close quarters combat because of its sheer speed. But bear in mind that that's also because of the length that it has. The speed is, you know, obviously relative to how, you know, how long it is. Because, of course, realistically, you're not going to be able to swing around a pole that is extremely long in comparison to one that is shorter. You know, that's just how it works. And obviously that's how it works in the game too. So let's see if we can maybe take out a couple of people with this. It's going to be... Yeah, it's going to be one of these. It's going to be a little bit tricky. Because I'm going to have to get used to the timing. The timing is a little bit off for me right now, but... the amount of damage I can do is absolutely enormous right here. And wow, I'm actually blown away by how much damage we're able to do right now. This is just insanity. I mean, these guys literally have... I mean, obviously, you know that the health increasing mod that increases everyone's health by 2%? That does apply to everyone. 2% per level, should I say. It increases... yeah, as far as I'm aware, it is 2% and not just a flat value, but yes, indeed. Every single level gives a small increase to HP, and that obviously applies to everyone else. So, the fact that is, you know, to take that into account, and we're still capable of one-shotting every single person that we have so far come up against with this weapon, says everything you need to know. I mean, obviously the War Razor, you can kind of expect that to be the case because it is just such a hard-hitting weapon. But if you think about the Manavlion, it's not that hard-hitting. It only has a damage of, what, 36 or something? Yeah. I think that's where your perks really come into it. Your perks really do make a huge difference, or your skills, or your proficiencies, or whatever you want to call them. But yes, generally that is the main reason why we are doing so much damage. Can I just ask why the enemy is being so incredibly cagey right now? I'm not entirely sure why they are waiting so heavily up here, and it's kind of weird, to be honest. I mean, I suppose it is to be expected. They are slightly outnumbered, but I wouldn't have expected them to be so cautious, considering they have the high ground, you know? I have the high ground, Anakin, and so on. You know, that sort of feeling must give them a little bit of confidence. I really need to take out the mounted units. Like this guy. Ah, there we go. Didn't one-shot him this time, because we hit him from a bad angle, I guess. Nice. We took him down now. Is it just me, or am I just immediately getting headshots with this thing as well? Well, technically not headshots, but, you know, I'm hitting the head, more specifically. Gonna tell my forces to charge in now as well. Let's try and do some more damage. Oh yeah, I've actually completely forgotten about using my crossbow as well, because bear in mind that obviously I don't have a huge amount of focus points in crossbow at the moment, so that is obviously something to take into account, but let's get some skill points, shall we? If I can. I mean, it's a bit difficult to use it on this mountain here, or this hill. Nice. That was some decent skill. It's just very difficult to use when you are running uphill. The faster that I can run, the better that my riding skill is going to increase as well. We've got to bear that in mind, so let's make sure that I actually do have a decent enough speed. Oh yeah, by the way, I don't think my horse is lame. I know someone did mention that in the comments where... Because I was obviously questioning why my horse is so slow. And indeed, I don't think my horse is lame. I don't think it has been injured. But if it has, then yeah, that would definitely explain it. And I'm going to need to switch it out until it's healed. But I don't think that would be the case. It's kind of a bit strange because I usually keep a good eye on that. And, well, do I? Is that actually true? Do I keep a good eye on it? No, probably not. Probably not, right? Ooh. Okay, I've got 9 more shots to get a decent amount of experience here. Ah, the timing. The timing. Yes, indeed. Yeah, that is definitely something that I need to get used to, especially considering the enemy is capable very much so of murdering me because their timing is impeccable, as is always the case. But for me specifically, no, not so much, not so much. I am very imperfect when it comes to adapting to a new weapon type, especially when I'm riding at such a dramatic speed. But maybe I should focus my efforts on other things. For example, eliminating the enemy's cavalry. That is probably a much better use of my time. Because if I can eliminate them, then my units, or my allies' units, will be able to eliminate them without too many difficulties. But because they are on horses, it really makes things so much more difficult. Also, the timing of attacking enemy cavalry is also hilarious. Okay, well, I actually hit someone for 161, and he did not die. Look at that. So yeah, the HP per level is actually coming in handy for that fellow. That's for sure. And we're going to see what happens now. Obviously, I'm going to zoom ahead here, because I'm pretty sure we are achieving victory. Yes, we have over double the amount of kills that they have, so we should be able to maintain that ratio all the way to victory. Oh yes, or Victory Road if you are a fan of that. Yes, indeed. And the enemy forces are now dwindling, and 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's it. That is indeed a victory. Very nice indeed. Alright, 200 around. Yeah, it's not really that... I don't really care about the renown right now, actually, but decent amount of influence to be gained here as well, which is, of course, very welcome. We also need to just make sure that we are checking where these people are from. Oh yeah, pretty good, pretty good. This guy is actually a minor faction, I believe. Yes, he is a minor faction, so I'll actually take him prisoner. And we're going to let the others go. Alright, fantastic. I already have a decent amount of prisoners, so it's not really necessary for me to take any more, but I'm actually just going to do that because I do need to switch around the most valuable ones. You know, that's the thing that we need to take into account. So anyway, there we go. Let's move on. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of experience that I get excited about and that maybe I can do something with. So I'm going to just take the grain, although taking the grain isn't really necessary for me specifically because I have so much food as it is, but might as well, right? Might as well. And I don't think I need to take anything else, to be honest, because all of this actually does contribute to the experience. Cows don't, so I guess I'll take the cows, and we'll just leave the rest, I guess. So that's 50,000. 50,000 experience, and we have now opened up Ortisia. I mean, technically there is still a rather... maybe not the largest army in the world, but a pretty significant army off to the side here. And maybe we'll be able to do something against that. Oh, fantastic. I actually leveled up. Can you believe it? Okay. So I apparently leveled up. So now what we need to do... decreases your crossbow accuracy loss due to movement. That actually sounds fantastic. I think I'm probably going to take that one. Donkey Swiftness. It's kind of a good name, in my opinion. Kind of a good name. Anyway, you cause 20% more battle morale penalty with ranged kills while mounted. This is a riding perk. And the other one is you cause 20% more battle morale penalty with melee kills while mounted. So I'm probably going to take that one. And then we have a medicine perk here as well. Increase village hearth growth rate by 20% and get a 20% healing bonus in villages. Or increase prosperity of settlements, I suppose, that you're the governor of, by +1 every day. That's actually fantastic. And get 20% healing bonus in towns. Yes, I will definitely take that as well. Anyway, I'm going to put a focus point into crossbow, and we're also going to be putting another point into control, because I'm now finally starting to use a crossbow. I'd like to level this thing up as fast as possible. Alright, so now I'm basically just going to leave, and we're going to see what Ingaltha decides to do. He seems to be running away. I'm not entirely sure why he's doing that. Yeah, see, now he's completely messed up, because he literally let that army get into the garrison at Ortisia, and now they're able to you know, call for more reinforcements if they so desire, and they're basically free to do whatever they want. And, well, what they want is probably to besiege Garontor Castle, which is exactly what they're doing. So I'm going to have to wait here for some time. Going to have to go to the dungeon real fast, place these prisoners in here, because you know what's going to happen, right? Yes. If I am able to achieve victory here, which is, I think, quite likely. I don't know, but I think it might be quite likely. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to equip... Do I have more bolts? Yes, I do have more bolts. Okay, fantastic. I'm going to equip more bolts because I feel like a shield, while it is very, very useful, is something that I don't really need in a siege defense. So I'm also going to switch out my crossbow. This is the crossbow I found in Veluca's marketplace, I believe. And I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think someone said to me a long time ago that this was the best crossbow in the game, or I could be wrong. I'm not entirely sure, but it has 100 accuracy, as you can see, 100 piercing damage. It's pretty fantastic. And if it isn't, then by all means let me know what the best one is so I can look out for it. But I think it had a name similar to that. So I might be remembering it correctly, or I might be remembering incorrectly. I'm not entirely sure, but we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, seems like that, wow, another army of the Western Empire was defeated. These guys really don't want to go in here, in my opinion. I think this is a really bad idea. Look at the power levels. The power level disparity between my army and this fellow's is pretty significant, and I really don't think he should go forward with this. But who knows? Maybe he will, maybe he won't. Wow, another Western... What is the Western Empire doing? Their armies are seemingly murdering, well, themselves. That is what is happening here. They're murdering themselves, and they're not really doing anything to us, which is... It boggles the mind, it really does. Okay, wait a minute. A rebel faction has emerged in Vlandia. They are led by Clan Daetir. The rebels demand that Derthart abdicates their throne. Okay, let me actually just show you what's going on with that. Oh, okay. Where did my rebel faction go? Okay, wait a minute. Question. Does this reset whenever a new war is declared, or whenever a peace is declared? Is that actually what's happening here? Because if that is the case, then I was actually really close, by the way. I took a look at the faction screen just before I started recording, and I was about 4,800 with the balance of power, and the opponent, or Derthart's clan, had 7,000 something, so I wasn't even that far away from it. I'm going to join this faction. There you go, as you can see. Look at that. That's pretty fantastic. So let's see what happens actually with this. I really just want to find out what happens with it, to be honest. Alright. I'm very much looking forward to this siege defense. I would love to be able to do a little bit with my crossbow. I am so looking forward to it. It's been such a long time since I've had the ability to use a ranged weapon. Ah, yes, okay. I'm now eternally disappointed, to be honest. Okay, well, I was waiting here, obviously, and this guy, right, or shall we say this girl, this woman, she decided that it would be a good idea to besiege with actual ranged siege equipment rather than just building some siege towers and battering ram and so on. I think she knew. You see, this is the thing. She knew that we outnumbered her and we had much more combat strength than she did, so she was trying to weaken us up by bombarding us from outside, which is a very clever thing to do. That's a very smart thing to do, but as is the case with these kinds of strategies, it takes way too long. It takes way too long, and I know, I've said about this before, and generally I think that I'm correct in that assumption. However, bear in mind that obviously it is meant to take long because it does give you, as one of you rightfully mentioned, it does give you an overwhelming advantage if you're able to destroy the enemy's walls. But what I was actually trying to get at there is that I was not I was not wanting a quick fix or an easy fix for sieges. I don't want there to be no downside in constructing these things, you know, because obviously if you construct the ranged siege and, you know, you try to make the best of it and you try to get the walls down and weaken up the opponent from outside, it should take some time, of course. It should take some time, but I think that the way the AI interacts with you attempting to take that is a little bit iffy, because obviously, if you think about it, you know, it's always going to result in the same thing. If you are literally trying to bombard the enemy, you're either going to take significant casualties yourself, which obviously is not what you want. You very much want... Oh, I shouldn't have let this guy go. Oh, well, never mind. Anyway, you really want to be able to do damage to the opponent, and you don't want them to deal damage to you. I'm just going to reset this, actually, because I'm happy to trade all of that for experience. So yeah, you obviously want to be able to deal massive damage to the opponent and take very little yourself. However, I have found multiple times over the course of me attempting to besiege with ranged equipment like, I don't know, like trebuchets and so on, that you just take way too many casualties. So there's obviously that. That is a big downside. That is a huge downside to it, because you're not even able to really do that much damage to the opponent before your army is rendered almost completely, utterly useless by the fact that they are just being eliminated super quickly by the opponent's ranged siege. And then you obviously have the other part where everything just takes way too long to build. And again, as I say, I don't want it to be done in a literal 2 hours in game time. I obviously don't want it to be done that fast. I mean, that's just imbalanced. But I also don't want it to take, you know, I don't know, 5 in-game days or 6 in-game days. I mean, yes, okay, you know, that's realistic. That is very much realistic. And indeed, yeah, I'll give that to you. It's definitely realistic for it to take a long time. However, in that time that you're building these things and you're trying to bombard the walls and you're trying to get the walls down, what do you think's going to happen? The enemy is, of course, going to send a massive army toward you, and then you've lost 100 units from siege bombardment casualties, and you have not gotten the walls down, and you're not able to take the castle. And it's just a frustrating experience all around. That is what I'm getting at. Not the fact that I want the siege mechanics to be simple or to be easy, even though I don't equate easy with being bad. You got to bear that in mind. I don't really care whether it's easy or whether it's hard. I just want it to be satisfying and enjoyable to use. I don't want it to be a frustrating experience, and I don't think the developers want it to be frustrating either. I mean, why would they want their game to be frustrating, right? Everyone plays games for fun. I mean, most people play games for fun, so obviously that's what's going to happen. Anyway, wow, massive bombardment from our Vlandian sharpshooters. What? Oh, that was crazy. Oh, yeah, it's been such a long time since we've actually used our own units in combat, and I am very much looking forward to seeing how we're able to do things here. Oh, this is going very nicely so far. I was blown away by how cool the Vlandian sharpshooters were at the very start there. They just, you could hear it, you know. I don't know whether you could hear it over my wonderful ranting annoyances, but yes, in general, you could hear the phew, you know, through the air of the bolts. That was very satisfying indeed. Anyway, let's hopefully not get murdered along the way. I'm getting a little bit more used to the timing on this thing as well. Don't know whether you can notice that, but I'm starting to get a couple more kills and starting to miss a whole bunch less. That would have been super funny if I literally just said miss a whole bunch less and then miss twice in a row, but I only missed once. 50-50, not bad, right? Yeah. There we go. Eliminate one of the enemy vassals. That's always nice. We should really try and focus on the enemy's cavalry, as I've said multiple times now. That's probably a better idea than anything else. Or maybe we could do a little bit of damage against the enemy archers or something. so we got to be a little bit aware of the fact that I do have a crossbow equipped. Bear that in mind. I do actually still have the crossbow equipped, but this is not a crossbow that I can use on a mount, which of course is a bit of a I don't know, bit of a display of negligence on my part, because obviously if I would have swapped the crossbows around, then I would have been able to use it on horseback. But I was fully expecting to do a siege defense, and I was very much looking forward to using the bound crossbow, but unfortunately I wasn't able to do that this time around. Alright, there you go, there's a nice victory for us. We literally only lost 3 units. Really? 3 units? That's kind of insane. Okay, I am not entirely sure what is even going through their mind right now. These guys are literally thinking to themselves, how are we supposed to beat this fellow? And I don't blame them, to be honest. I really don't blame them. Okay, I'm going to be taking all of those guys prisoner, because they are, of course, a part of a minor faction. And we do have some more... I don't really care about all these prisoners, to be honest. I mean, yes, I obviously do, but generally I have a decent amount of cash as it is. It's not like I'm hurting for money, and it really doesn't really... I don't really require it, basically. That's what I'm trying to say. So I'm just going to leave the rest there. 23,000. We are capped out, though, so I'm going to have to do something about that. Let's try and get a little bit of this. There we go. And do I want to take anything else? I don't really care about all of this. All of the resources and things like that, you know, when they're, you know, 1s and 2s and 3s, it's really not that big a deal. Okay, so there we are. We were able to beat another Western Empire, another Western Empire army, or a conglomeration of huge amounts of vassals. And now, look at their combat strength. Their combat strength is still pretty good. It's 3,800. Oh yeah, by the way, with the Northern Empire, we actually made a deal, and they are paying us, I think it's like 860 per day or something like that, which is really not that much, but it's better than nothing, in my opinion, so it's okay. Anyway, seems like our army here, who's this? Is this Ingaltha's army, by the way? No, it's Alwith. Alwith, okay. So Alwith's army is going to attempt to take Ortisia. And I am going to end this episode off here. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.